Alright, welcome back to Slayers Anime Review, episode number 13 for the show. Yes, 13. We're here discussing episodes, well, for Slayers next, these are technically episodes 5 through 10. In terms of the actual Slayers anime, it is 31, 36. 31 particularly wraps up the adaptation of Book 2 of the series, where they unveil what this immortality pledge stone is. It's the monster's mask. It gets broken. The guy's turned old. It turns out he did this because he wanted to bring back his dead girlfriend. And she's brought back as an animated corpse. And then he just dies. Yeah. It was an okay ending, but that's basically how it was in the book. So, good on Basic Anime for that. Episodes 6 and 7 are complete filler. Yes, though 6 is basically a comedy episode where we had the return of I'm trying to think of what was her name here, because Martina, yeah, she returns after kind of being there for the past few episodes. Yes. By the way, this actually was the first appearance since episode 2. And she's kind of here. And it's not very clear, but it seems like this woman seems to be like just kind of an anime original character. Because I don't think she appears in any of the light novels. No. So the whole thing is, oh, she wants her revenge. We have this little curse thing. And, well, basically Lena has hit one of his Gallery for being an idiot. Ends up hurting herself. At one point, they have it where she kicks Gallery in the balls and somehow affects her too. In the end, they break the curse anyways. After convincing Martina to basically break it. And then she doesn't do anything for the next next few episodes because Episode 7, she does nothing. She just shows up, doesn't do much anything at all. And this is an episode I just had to skip because watching it, I got so bored. This episode was so stupid. Where it's like, oh, they want to try this dragon cuisine, but she's not fooled by the fake dragon stuff. So they meet the chef, who's a frickin' sheriff, who refers to as his kitchen, his castle, and like, oh, let's go catch a dragon like it's catching a fish. Yeah, this episode was so dumb, I decided to skip it. It was so dumb. And by the way, the character himself is based upon the Iron Chef. Yes. Excuse me. And finally, with episode 8, we finally begin the adaptation of Book 4. Yes. Episodes 3 through 5. That was all Book 2. Yes, believe it or not, that 3-parter, those 3 episodes, that was all Book 2. And beginning with episode 8 begins the adaptation of book number 4 that Fly Red does not wrap up into episode 13. Yes. And they kind of stretch this. That's the reason why. Yeah. The actual book itself is like 150 pages, I think it is. Which is just enough to cover a handful of episodes, but had to extend it because of reasons. So, they arrive back in Solitane, basically Amelia's home country, where apparently her father is reported dead. Yeah, basically Phil's back in the show. Yep. Those of you curious, how long ago did he pass away? Like, okay, his last appearance in the show itself was, I kid you not, he last appeared in the final episode of the previous season of the show. And he's here for just for this arc, and then he's gone until the first episode of the next season. And he doesn't appear very much after that. Yeah, Phil does not appear very much after this arc wraps up. He appears, like, in terms of the anime, 5 more episodes. You're like, really? Yeah, really. Here's also kind of interesting, though. In the novels, he is a canon character, but he only appears in one volume. He appears in volume 4. After that, he never returns over again. Does he die? Not really, no. I'm guessing the reason why they have filmed it early because the animators must really love his character, despite the fact that he does not really appear in the actual. He does some background stuff. He doesn't actually fight whatever they're fighting throughout the previous season show, which Raizo. Yes, but he is a canon character. Aside from appearing in like one novel, he also appears in a special novel. He appears in the very first special novel. One volume for the Super Exorcist Demon manga. This was the adaptation of the first, around the first 8 volumes. Slayer Select, Special Manga Volume 4. The episodes in the first season of the show, which episodes 11, 13, and 25 and 26. Yes, he does not appear very much in the anime. And this batch of episodes here from 8 to 13 is actually the most he's appeared in the whole series. And afterwards, he appears for roughly 5 more times, and that's it. Yeah. Those are very curious, though. Where is Sephiel? Yes, the character appeared last season of the show, and she does not return until toward the end of the season. Yeah, she doesn't. Despite the fact she kind of appears in book 4. Yeah, so, and then they meet basically Amelia's, her uncle, and supposedly Alfred was her uncle too, but that was actually mistaken the animators. Actually, the dubbers. When Alfred is actually her cousin, not her uncle. And because, of course, and also Christopher mistakenly referred to himself as the only brother of Phil, ignoring the brother from the last season of the show, though they do bring that back in with next season, with the later episode. So Phil was killed supposedly with some accident per se, with some assassination thing, and they do find him alive by the end of the episode, and he decided to fake being dead in order to lure out the person who actually tried to kill him. Yes, seriously, he tried to do this. So, a lot of suspicions put on Amelia's uncle, Christopher. Yes. He's also got these 2 advisors who work for him, who should be actual monsters, and looking around the crime scene, and that's when they find Phil alive, per se, and then, of course, at one point prior to this, basically, Phil shows up in a costume. He's like some mess vigilante, they'll hold back the feelings, the father and daughter, she wants to give him a hug, and then later on they see hugging in a very weird fashion. And everyone's like, oh, Phil's alive! And, then later on, Amelia and... Okay. Yeah, so Amelia basically goes to visit her cousin, Alfred. Not her uncle, or her cousin. Where he reveals that, yes, his father is one who actually tried to kill Amelia's father because he wanted the throne. Despite the fact that, technically, because they also mentioned apparently the whole thing with their other uncle who died last season when he tried to do the same thing. Oh, the missing crown princess, implying the fact that Amelia is not an only child. Yeah, this actually, from what I read, this will get expanded upon, but not at this point. So, Zengalos himself doesn't do a lot per se. He does basically blast a window, but he doesn't do a lot per se. And then, of course, they get taken to the dimension by one of the monsters. And then episode 9 ends with Lena's powers being sealed. By the way, Gowry does nothing. Yeah, he does nothing except basically just stand and do nothing. So, powers get sealed, so she goes by herself, runs into Zealous and Martina. Because why not? This is it's like the beginning thing. It was complete canon, and they decided to do this sealing plot because they need to extend this arc for another few more episodes because they don't want to get to book 5 yet. Yes, seriously, they do not want to get to book 5 just yet. So they go find a doctor. Yes, a magic doctor to unseal her magic. They find a doctor, and it's a little girl. except that she's actually the granddaughter of the one they were looking for, because apparently he died at some point, and Martina still wants to basically get revenge on Lena for blowing up her kingdom from the first episode of the season. And hijinks ensue, and, well, also expanded upon her power, so she basically just buys the talisman from Zeros, and that is going to probably set the remaining episodes of this arc. Yeah, I kind of feel this though, basically, if you watch these episodes, like 8 and 9 definitely feel like basically they're from the actual light novel. 10 feels like a lot of it basically is complete, despite the fact it's part of this arc, it feels like it's complete filler. Like, it's like complete anime original. Because the series itself likes its original content, but looking up basically the season so far, in 10 episodes, they've only been, in a way, only 5. Only half the episodes so far of this bunch are actually complete and original. And that being the first 2 episodes, episodes 6, 7, and 10. And, well, the voice acting is still amazing, just that we don't get like a lot happening. In the case of Phil's Up, like they had to pause that to do this comedy episode. It wasn't a good comedy episode. It did like advance the plot of the previous episode, but we'll find out more when I discuss the remaining 3 episodes before I go back to watching Lupin Ranger vs. Panther Range, which hopefully will be today. But the plan is finish watch next 3, watch Fire Force, and then head back to Lupin Ranger vs. Panther Ranger, okay? So, that's pretty much it for the video. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe to notifications. I'll see y'all later. Bye.